Academy, and I would like to welcome Professor Surinder Singh Ji, the Yogi of Sound. Welcome, Yogi Ji.
Satkartar. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you all for joining us. This will be a new journey that we're going to go on together and exploring different dimensions of sound. Today, I'd like to focus a little bit on yourself, Yogi Ji, and just so that we can understand a little bit more about you, what inspires you, where you come from, and what your journey was like. So, would that be okay?
That's fine. That's fine.
Wonderful. All right. So, my first question: the whole world knows you as Professor Surinder Singh. You've been very active for the last 3 to 4 decades in the field of reviving Gurmat Sangeet and Sikh music, and you've helped to bring back instruments that belong to Sikh heritage that were forgotten in the Western Hemisphere. I mean, from my own journey, I wouldn't know any of this if I had never have met you or if you hadn't have done the work that you did. So now that the world knows you as Professor Surinder Singh, almost the Ragi or the Kirtani, um, what made you change your name almost to the Yogi of Sound? What inspired that transformation?
Well, I didn't change my name. I was always a yogi. I learned from two great teachers who practiced uh, the yogic angle of sound. The sad thing is that we have a word phobia. We we understand when it comes to words like yoga, mantra, tantra, yantra, we have misconceptions. These are just words from Sanskrit. Yoga means capability, when you are able to use your capacity to maximum. When you've been taught and you practice um, those processes which makes you capable. And my journey was always, how did the ancient India, um, and especially focusing on Guru Nanak Sahib and all the Guru Sahban and Sri Guru Granth Sahib, when it comes to the sound current and human psyche, how does it work? That was my process. My focus always for mental health betterment, um, as a sound and psyche's purpose is, which gave us a program we call Kirtan. But the bridge has to be built in this. So academia was one of a very important missing link. So a lot of time I had to spend in academia to set up the courses, get the papers out, get the work in a way um, placed so that it cannot be twisted around, right? So we say oral traditions, um, it becomes Chinese whisper, and something so beautiful, Jasveer Kaur, that amazing program given to us by Guru Nanak Sahib, Sri Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj, as a navigation of Sri Guru Granth Sahib. And the tools were given, yantra like Rabab and up to Dilruba, Tantra, the Rag, the technique, how to win the heart of mind. And
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes the mantra. It was okay for us to call it Mool Mantra or Guru Mantra. Um, Vaheguru Guru Mantra hai. But when it came to use it socially, then there was a phobia. But I always had my interest, my focus, all my training uh, when it comes to sound through Kirtan. What does it do to human psyche? So I lived this. I thought I developed some form of capability to heal myself and the people
Mm-hmm.
around me, help them become a helping hand. And I don't know, they started calling me Yogi Ji. So it doesn't,
Okay.
to me,
Well,
I'm just Surinder Singh.
well, thank you for helping us to understand that. So I want to ask you, where does this whole idea of yoga phobia in Sikhi come from? Because that's something I've heard a lot. I know a lot of people who now connect with Sikhi through things like Kundalini yoga. or through other forms of spirituality and meditation. But there's a huge portion of the Sangat who has that they're anti-yoga, or it is yoga phobia. You used words like yantar, tantar, mantar, and whenever I've heard these words growing up, they've had like a negative connotation with them. You've just helped to break it down in a more practical way, but I think for people who may be hearing a new perspective for the first time, they may not understand what those words mean. So
We
can you
are
help us to
Sikhs.
understand where the yoga phobia comes from? Sorry.
I mean, we are the seekers, right? We should evolve. We should go deeper into the words. They're just like, if we say tools, techniques, and solutions that Gurbani provides, then it's okay in today's terms. But if we are using Sanskrit words like yantra, tantra, mantra, because we don't have an understanding, so we form a viewpoint around it. Also, those clans or schools, mutts, and the people were promoting, they created this misconception. Also, if you look back into the Buddhism was destroyed from India, and it was not a religious act. It was the concept hijacked by uh, Hindu mutts um, to push that faith out, and I think precautionary. Also, our ideology is a little bit different. How we practice, the sound current. We practice wisdom, which has been lived by gurus. But in practices in the yogic outside yogic systems, you will see Hatha Yoga. Mean Kundalini Yoga is a part of it when you force yourself to become. But Guru Nanak Sahib says, be a discipline of nature, be in the law of the nature. Hukam Raja Chalana Nanak Likhya Naak. Use your capability to understand how Pavan is Guru, Pani is a Pita, and Mata is Tartamahat. So you're not divided as a British or Indian or American. You're not divided that you're a Hindu or a Muslim. You are human. Manuk Dehi. This is Gobind Milan ki ehe teri bariya. But how do we do this? Create this oneness. And Guru Nanak Sahib, when he gave the programs, those programs were challenging for Hatha Yoga schools. All of these old schools.
Yeah.
The mats we call. There are 4 mat out there. There were 9 nats. There's 12 schools of yoga. They all promoted Hatha Yoga, a prabandh or a system made by them. But Guru Nanak Sahib says communication. So his school was just like standing out. So he was talking about emotions and feelings and mood and recomposition of psyche and getting rid of ailment through communication with mind. He said inner quarrel is the cause of the disease. So of course the other schools gonna create problems also. So they created the rumors and
Okay.
nobody you want just unnecessary competition. The Guru Nanak's program was so amazing, so beautiful. He gave new terms like kirtan. He gave uh, a new face to communication. He gave a new purpose to humans to win the heart of mind. So his capability program, his yogic process, if you today have a darshan of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj Bani, the before Ragmala there is the Shabad, last Shabad by Guru Arjan Sahib. Slok Mahalla Panchva. Tera kita jatto nahi menno jog kitoi. Now, literally, if we are looking into what sort of capability is he talking about, because our experiences, Jasveer Kaur, in Punjab or Southeast Asia has not been very pleasant with other schools of practicing yoga. Therefore, the phobia came about. Also, what I think, being healthy, staying healthy is every human's right. So whatever works for you, you should do it. But you should do it with study, not with blind faith. Like we have a phobia over words, and we don't even know that Guru Sahib, literally every other Shabad, he uses these words.
Thank you for explaining that. I mean, growing up in my own journey of Sikhi, this is not something that anybody had ever explained to me, not in this capacity. I've come to learn it over the years, but I know that there's still a lot of people out there who don't understand that or don't have the luxury to have somebody like yourself break it down and explain it. Of course, people are allowed to feel the way that they feel about things. I think it's just such a shame when we segregate and just like label in these different areas that Sikhi allows this or doesn't allow this. I am intrigued about how you're talking about Guru Nanak Sahib, that he was a yogi and that was his methodology to teach and to share and to inspire. You talked about emotions and moods. What do you mean by that?
Before we go, we're going to really go very deep through many conversations like that, about it in detail, so that we form the sangat. We find the sangat, the end purpose of our sangat. So I will come back to this emotions and the moods
The only
and
reason
feelings.
that I brought them up, because you mentioned that that was part of the science that Guru Nanak gave. But absolutely, we can come back to that. I do have another question for you. Um,
Can I just
when I
interrupt
think,
you?
yes, of course.
Just so that that there's no wishy-washiness around what I said. Like, for example, in Sikhs now, there are a lot of scholars, a lot of believers, a lot of preachers are using these nasal sounds. Like they will say shabd, that it means whatever is written in Sri Guru Granth Sahib, even it's written sabad, sasa, no bindi in the foot. There is no sh sound, it's a s sound, sabd. But they said it means shabd, but it means shabd in Braj or Hindi or in Punjabi. But they're pushing that even to the Western world. Tomorrow, Western world will say, oh, well, to us, it means word. So we're going to pronounce as a word. So these collisions are always, these divisions are always there. And therefore, we will form our corners. That's what happened between Kundalini Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Ashtanga, all of these different schools, and between Guru
Mm-hmm.
Nanak Sahib's program of sound and psyche. And when we will talk about this program, Jasveer Kaur, is so beautiful. You can stay Muslim for the rest of your life, or Christian, or a Hindu, or whatever. Guru doesn't tamper with that. All he cares about is your smile and your health. And such an amazing program. Of course, it was going to become threatening for those who were running their livelihood from it, or it was a power bank for them.